Good morning, whatever your time zones may be, it doesn't matter. You are here. It's time for IGK Esports League and the IGK Esports League only over here on the Vision Racing League YouTube channel. I'm Alex Bomberg. You'll notice my voice from the VRL F1 series. For the past 2 seasons I've been over there commentating IGK, title sponsor of VRL, and we're here today for the debut of the IGK Esports League on the Vision Racing League platform here. Possibly here to stay. We'll have to see how that goes in the future, but for now we're here in Hanoi with the drivers, 13 drivers right now in the lobby. We're going to have a further couple of drivers join who have joined since the start of this qualifying session. We're at 10 minutes in. IGK Dario, as I say that, IGK Dario was on pole, replaced by IGK Block. McLaren 1-2 as it was in qualifying last week at Bahrain. That didn't come to fruition after one of the McLarens, I believe it was Block, got a puncture and ended up finishing outside of the points. A short margin split the McLarens at the moment. We'll see the gap. Looks like the soft tyre, the majority choice for everyone inside the top 10. Remember, for those new to esports and Formula 1, as IGK Dario does go quicker than his teammate Block by about 0.2 of a second, so they swap back to how they were before. IGK Boss is there in third ahead of Ayamotti, all within about 3.5 of a second. Then it's a fair gap back to Nico, Gavin, Max, VRT Luke, who you'll notice as he hits the wall there, does Luke. You'll notice Luke from over in VRL F1. Then it's driving Dutchman, who's got front wing damage. That's not a representative lap time from him. We've got both racing points. We've got Joost in the pitch and Lars on the medium tyres with damage to both ends of that front wing. So that's that lap gone. And IGK Gill there in the Alpha Tower. He's on his lap at the moment, so we're going to follow him through this final lap. Or we're not actually, because as you can see by the red track map, he has invalidated. Could be as that lap. It's not showing up as that lap, so Gil may be going for another lap. We pit for a new set of tyres. He doesn't look to be pushing right now, so obviously invalidated that last lap. He'll go again. He'll have to pit for new tyres and fuel. That won't be a problem though with the current time left in the session. It looks like a lot of people coming back into the pits there. Gavin locking up. I believe he's on an in-lap anyway, so that's not too much of a problem. Max seemingly on a fast lap in the AlphaTauri though. The only AlphaTauri driver so far to set a time on older tyres though, so I'm not sure if he's just pushing into the pits or whether he's genuinely pushing for a representative time. You can see his sector 2 split, only about 0.2 down, but this part of the track heavily dependent on tyres and rear stability. We'll see if he can keep it clean through the S's, coming up to the back of what is a racing point. That doesn't impede him too much, but he does go very wide. The dirty air kicking in there, and that is going to be any chances of a decent lap really gone out the window. He crosses the line, doesn't improve on his time. 0.6 down to lost 0.4 in that final sector. He's going to pit. Here's Luke on a lap actually, just coming up to the end of the first sector. We'll get a split in just a moment, I do believe. Currently down in 8th position, time to gain. If he can gain half a second, he could be up in the running for 5th position, which would be a very good result for Luke. As he breaks into the hairpin, not quite hooking up the apex perfectly there, back on traction, using all of the track as available to him in that Renault car. We'll see his split, he's just under that big lockup there you saw from the Dutchman, and that's his lap invalidated and he'll have to pit. He's only got one more chance to go again. The rear end looking a little bit slidey though there as he went through the middle sectors. Into the pits goes Luke. We'll see who else is on a lap. Both the Alfa Romeos, but Dutchman is in a Ferrari. He is he's invalidated, so he's got to go again. Surprisingly, he didn't pit. Maybe not a spare set of tyres. We'll see what he can do if he can break further into the top 10. IGK Raikkonen as well, about to set his first lap of the session. Joost, Lars and Gil all still in the pits. So welcome everyone on the live stream, hope you're having a good night. Hope you're so far enjoying this introduction of IGK onto the official eSports VRL channel. Something that we hope to extend into the future. Here's IGK Raikkonen, last time out at VRL F1 in the 50th race of VRL history at Silverstone. IGK Raikkonen scored his first podium in the top tier of Vision Racing League, a very competitive league where you see drivers such as IGK Domi, IGK Gill, who is sat in 13th at the moment. Many IGK drivers signing up for the league. Much improvement in terms of speed, and this is also an extremely competitive league here over at IGK. In just its second race, as we see Raikkonen, and one of the coordinators for IGK eSports team. On his lap, it seemed a relatively clean lap so far. He's going to hope this is going to break him well into the top 10. In terms of Dutchman ahead, who is just, well, that's an invalidated lap time. We have to come into the pits and hope that might be a bit borderline with him getting out for another lap. Here's Raikkonen spun off. So that could be really problematic for him as he spins off in the final sector. Just a mistake there from the Alfa Romeo. He won't be able to pit again because he won't have enough time. Can he cool his tyres, and do his tyres have enough life left in them? We'll have to see. A little bit further forward, let's see who is on a lap. Looks like Nico is maybe just finished his lap. He is just finished his lap because he's half that gap between himself and IGK Otti 99. The last of the top 4 of IGK drivers. Then it's a fair gap back to the next IGK driver, Raikkonen, whose current lap is 32 seconds nearly off the pace. But I'm sure he's cooled his tyres down. He's going to go again, but that will have hurt his rear tyres quite a lot. You can see already, just in corner 2, really squirming around for grip. That's not going to help him massively. We'll see his split. He's invalidated, so Raikkonen won't get a lap time, and he is Joost there in the Racing Point. Both Racing Points are about to start their laps. So is IGK Gill. And back at the front, IGK Dario has actually, crucially, as Raikkonen retired from the session, Dario has invalidated his lap time. So he's got to hope that he can get back around, and he will have 1 lap older tyres. But here is IGK Block. McLaren obviously sporting the new We Racers 1 Halo, as we watch his DRS activate. Down the first straight, we're going to follow Block on a lap here, unless anything else of note happened, braking hard into turn number 1. Small lock up, back on the power, really nice, a good power application from the McLaren there. Looks like that car is working quite well in the initial phase, not using too much curb there, keeping the lap completely valid as we open DRS for a second time in this lap. Not the final time, as we blitz down purple sector 1 for Block, 2.5 tenths up, throwing it right and left. Tricky to not invalidate, but at the same time they've got to use all the track available, and that's exactly what Block has done. Back on the power, beautiful rotation through the roundabout section here, and now you're powering all the way down, using all of the engine, putting the front wings as low as possible for this part of the racetrack. As there, IGK Block activates his DRS system down into the hairpin. Braking hard and back on the power. Let's see how his sector 2 split is going to be. He's still up on his time, not a purple middle sector however for Block. However, he's going quite well. A small amount of contact you would have seen with the wall there. Slightly wide for the penultimate corner. Can he get it in? It looks like he can. It's all about power application and commitment now through the final corner. What's this lap time going to be? It's not enough for pole position. 300th of a second separates him and his teammate IGK Dario, who's invalidated again, so he'll be thankful to know neither Block or Boss can challenge him. Further back, IGK Gill has only gone up to 6th position, 7 tenths off the pole position lap time. It looks like most of the times are now concluded as Gavin slots into P8, and the only driver who can move up here isn't IGK Armati because he has invalidated his lap. Driving Dutchman, here we go, he is the last driver on a lap, about 1.5 tenths up on his split in the first sector. Let's see what his second sector split is like as he comes up to the timing line now. He's 1.4 seconds up nearly, so this could be a really good lap. But then again, saying that, his current lap isn't representative at all. Must have picked up damage here on his original lap. Let's see what he can do, if he can keep his front wing clean. It looks like he can. A little bit of understeer though on the front end of that Ferrari, so not necessarily doing everything that he wants it to do. Yellow flag through the final corner. That's not going to disturb the driving Dutchman, and he goes, I believe he stays P11. We'll have to see the final qualifying results. He actually jumps up into P9, so a strong effort, I'd say, from the Dutchman. However, here is the final qualifying results. McLaren 1-2 yet again, as it was last week in Bahrain. Dario ahead of Blot this time though. A reverse from last week, however, tantalisingly close, 31 thousandths of a second separating them. IGK Boss in third, ahead of the other IGK driver of I am Otti, IGK 1, 2, 3, 4 today, and Nico in the Red Bull is the only driver stopping it from being an IGK 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And IGK Raikkonen, the only IGK driver not to set a respective lap. But an Italian top 5, followed by Gil, Max up in 7th, and Alpha Tauri 6th and 7th, 4th row, I believe. 4th and 5th row, as they are split. As we'll have to go into the race. Looks like it's going to be dry. Haven't seen a wet race around here actually since I was going to say since, but I don't think we have ever had a wet race here of ones that I've seen. Jacob22F1 on the live chat, welcome to the stream. Don't IGK have their own YouTube channel? They have a Twitch channel. I'm not sure about their YouTube channel, but if it is, it will just be IGK Esports. But as a part of our collaboration, we are streaming the IGK Esports League to all of our subscribers and more. So if you are new around here, if you're being brought in through IGK, if you're being introduced to the IGK Esports League today, please do give us a subscribe. It means a lot. Make sure you follow IGK Esports on Instagram. That is just IGK Esports at IGK Esports on Instagram. While you're at it, make sure you follow us, Vision Racing League. We're on the push to 1,000 followers. We're not too far off. Around 945 followers as of right now, so if we can push that up to 950, that would be great as we wait for the drivers to load in. Welcome Xavi on the live stream. So here we go for the formation lap. Let's have a quick look at selected tyres. Remember, the top 10 have to choose or have to take the tyres they started or they did the qualifying laps on, whereas the drivers who qualified outside the top 10 can take whatever tyre they may like. Tyre choice here. So Aero, who's just joined the session, opting for the medium. IGK Raikkonen and Lars both on hard, and Shizu Yost, the last of the drivers with a free tyre choice, opts for medium tyre. So looks like the choice of the drivers who have the free choice is on the harder compound, so they're trying to stretch a one stop. The one stop on the softs is tricky. It's possible, but it's quite tricky. We'll have to see. Here's the predicted pit stop strategy. I'm a personal fan of the one at the top, the soft, medium, soft. Fresh tyres around this track really do benefit you, so I'm sure the drivers will take that into mind. Who will win the sprint down into turn 1 though? We'll have to see. Everyone on the live stream, any predictions ahead of tonight's race? If you predict the podium, I'll be very impressed. Looks like a two-stop strategy is the strongest. However, as always, we expect drivers to try and make the one stop work. High percentage chance of a safety car here, not off previous data, but off the characteristics of the track, with walls surrounding the track at almost every point. Bound to be some kind of incident. So a safety car isn't quite inevitable, but it's possible. Here comes IGK Dario. Let's not forget second position here at Vietnam. Does have the inside line into turn number 1. Hot lap mode official saying Luke P1, the official graphics designer for VRL. And here's the view from the rear wing of IGK Dario. Looks like we're all loaded into the grid. We get 5 load lights ahead of the drivers. It's lights out and away we go for the second time in the IGK Esports League. It looks like Dario with a not necessarily strong start, and it looks like Block. Like last week, the two McLarens to switch into turn number 1, and IGK Boss is making a move on Dario here. They're side by side through turn number 2. Can the Alfa Romeo take advantage here? He can't quite, and it looks like Dario will hold that position. Apologies for the issue with the timing stream. IGK Raikkonen is not in the league. It's IGK Block who leads us away from Dario, who was on pole, dropped down into second position. Can IGK Boss make a move? It looks like further back everyone is keeping it really clean. No incidents so far as we approach the second braking zone of the day. Gil still in 7th, just behind his teammate. It looks like Luke dropping back ever so slightly, battling with the driving Dutchman there as they battle over P9, and the two drivers who opted for the hard tyre at the start have dropped to the back of the field. A little bit further forward, here comes Luke. Can he ever go around the outside? He's going to have to switch to the inside, which will eventually turn to the outside come this braking zone. Can he hang one around the outside? Can he avoid the cars around him? Yes, he can. That's a great move from VRT Luke up into 9th position. There's Joost having a look on the driving Dutchman. Their medium tyres not quite providing him the traction that he'd like as of right now. But it's Block who leads us away, just like last week. The McLaren drivers switching into turn 1. This is how they lined up in qualifying at Bahrain. And they ended up out of turn 1 with Dario ahead of Block this week. Dario ahead of Block on the grid. Block ahead of Dario at turn number 2. So we'll have to see if Dario can come back at his teammate, and if IGK Boss can keep them on last week. Fast lap of the race from Block. If there's any issues with the timing screen, I do apologise. DRS is enabled for what is apparently the 3rd lap of this race. I'd be surprised. This is just the 2nd lap. So an issue with the timing screen there. It's IGK Block in the lead. It seems as if sector 1's a bit tricky for the timing screen, as it does reset back to lap 2, so that's great news. We'll have to see when DRS gets enabled next lap if Dario can stay within a second of his teammate, because DRS really benefits you around lap here at Hanoi. IGK Boss isn't quite as close as the timing screen suggests here. However, he's still within a fighting shot of the two McLarens, who really have taken a stranglehold, even though it is only one race. As further back, looks like Joost has made a move. Driving Dutchman has lost 2 places in 2 laps at that same corner, but them soft tyres providing much better traction. However, it looks like Joost is going to have the inside line. Can he go around the outside? Dutchman is going to get squeezed out. He's going to have to back out of that one. How they didn't crash or hit a wall there, that's incredible battling between the two of them. But Dutchman settles for 2nd best, and he's going to have to wait behind Joost, who makes it up into the points paying positions as the drivers at the front on to start 3rd lap of the Grand Prix. And this time for real the DRS has been enabled, so when within a second of the car ahead, the driver can activate their rear wing DRS system and watch them close up to the car ahead. 3 DRS points around this lap, and it looks like Dutchman has lost another place. He's going backwards in this race. I'm not sure if he's got damage or he just doesn't have any pace. Looking at his front wing, it looks relatively healthy, so I don't think damage is happening for him right now. But dropping behind Aero, dropping behind 2 cars on harder tyres. Meanwhile, the two AlphaTauris are battling. Gil getting ahead of Maxwell, who did qualify ahead of him. Gil with a relatively poor qualifying for his standards. He's up ahead of his teammate. He can chase down Nico, and it looks like we may have a bit of a DRS train forming here, as here's the review of Block as his teammate IGK Dario closes and closes. Isn't quite close enough for a move. He'd have to get very risky on the brakes. He gets close, but not quite close enough. Looks like Maxwell might have dropped down. Not sure if he's got a little bit of damage on that front wing. It looks relatively healthy. No, there is damage on that front right end plate, so he's battling with his teammate. Have the two Alpha Tauris hit each other and or come to blows? I'm not sure if they have, because it looks like Gil has maintained that gap to Nico, but that's absolutely ruined Maxwell's race. Luke up a position, up into 8th position. He looks like he's putting pressure on Gavin in that Mercedes. If he keeps on this pressure, Gavin out of DRS of Gil ahead of him. Luke should have that moved on this lap, but back to the front. It's still Block leading Dario, leading Boss, leading I Am Otti. I believe this is how we were last week. This is obviously not how we finished. And back on board with IGK Block. You can see how much that DRS is really pulling along Dario behind him. And you'd argue that within about half a second, he's got a fighting chance on his teammate if he can get a good exit. It looks like relatively similar exits between the two drivers, and this should be a relatively easy move for IGK Dario if he has the ERS to expend. There he goes. Round the outside, turning to the inside in that braking zone. Can the Block come back round the outside? Yes, he can. Gets incredible grip around the outside of that hairpin there and just drives around the outside of his teammate. What a move there from Block to maintain the lead, or go back into the lead I should say, as Dario did have that move done. So interesting that he couldn't keep that position, because I think you and me would both say that Block had that, or Dario had that position done and sorted. Clearly not. Clearly not. And Dario's going to have to go again. It looks like IGK Boss had a little look at that McLaren there. IGK Boss absolutely desperate today to split the two McLarens. Got to stop them absolutely running away with the Constructors' title. Looks like further back Luke has got past Gavin for P7 there. Hot Lap Mode saying, to be honest, I'd say Block, Gil and Dario. So he's ambitious of Gil getting past Nico, Iamotti and Boss and Dario. But you know, we'll have to see. Anything can happen here in the IGK Esports League. Gavin still pressurising VRT Luke. He's here back to the front. Can Dario make it work? Second time lucky. We're going to ride on board with him as he does activate DRS. Looks like he's a little bit further back than he was this time last lap. It's going to take quite a ballsy move on the brakes. He's seemingly a little bit more comfier on the brakes into that hairpin than his teammate to make a move. Block still out in the lead as we near the end of the 5th lap of this race. 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th all running really close, and IGK Gil is actually lapping quicker than the leader here. Block, who looks a little bit weaker in the final sector, so that could suggest that he's running a lower downforce setup, meaning he's a little bit more slippy in the straight line, allowing him to run away from his teammate. But Dario at the moment driving a strong race, but he will want to get back ahead of his teammate at the earliest possible convenience for him. A little bit wide there from Block. Looks like Dario just running the lines of this Vietnam street circuit extremely well, sticking to them perfectly, and in turn is driving extremely well. Further back, Gavin has got back past Luke. This could be a battle that goes on all race. It looks like this pack is really split into 2 races here. Looks like the race at the front with Block, Dario, Boss, Iamotti, Nico and Gil, and then this battle almost Formula 1.5 between Gavin, Luke, Aero, Yost, Dutchman and Lars, Max and Raikkonen both already pitting. As back to the front, Dario this time much easier. He was much closer to his teammate. It's a relatively easy move. Block going a little bit deep there, possibly looking for a route round the outside. Couldn't quite make that work, and Dario seemingly comfier in race conditions as he was in qualifying, quicker than his teammate. And further back, I'm not sure if Luke has gone off, but he is battling He's just been passed by Aero. He lost the position to Gavin. Front wing damage there for the Renault driver, so that's a shame for his race. He'll have to pit. Thankfully it's not a million miles away from the pit window, so it's obviously going to cost him time, but it's not like this is a lap 1 instant or he's just pit. There goes IGK Gill into the pits, so the AlphaTauri possibly looking for an undercut strategy. Seems a little bit too soon to go onto the hard tyre. Have we got a new front wing there at AlphaTauri? We don't, that's just the Renault boys with a new front wing. So medium tyre for IGK Gill, that basically confirms the 2-stop, because unfortunately their medium tyres will not go 21 laps. A really short pit exit here, similar to what we have at Canada, as Gill will follow back onto the track. He's going to hope to set a really good outlap, and he's going to plan to jump Dario Block. Or, well, that's ambitious, but going to hope to at least get close to Nico, who's about a second off. Could be a really smart strategy here from Gill. Back to the front, Dario starting to pull a gap to his teammate, and it even looks like IGK Boss is going to start pressurising Dario. IGK Boss is going to start pressurising Block more than he is Dario there. As Block just not looking comfortable at all on these old soft tyres. Looks like Yost side by side with Gavin. Looks like these medium tyres really coming into their own. Gavin has to go off the track. That gets very sideways. Well held to keep it in a straight line, but not ideal. And it really does look like these soft tyres are starting to expire. Let's see who pits. So I thought Block was pitting there. He just went wide. IGK Boss comes into the pits. We'll have to say medium or hard tyres. There's a few options here in Hanoi. Hard tyre will give him track position. Will be a struggle come the end of the race. There's that 2-stop strategy onto the hard tyre. I don't think anyone will be opting for a hard tyre and a 2-stop. Looks like IGK Boss going to the end on hard tyres. So we do have a strategy split here. Let's see where he is in comparison to IGK Gill, who's just coming through the final corner now. He might jump him right here, but don't forget the really short pit lane. And he will carry momentum. Looks like IGK Boss is back onto the track, so Gill not making massive gains on Boss there, so he's gonna hope that the guys at the front fall away more than Boss did, because if anything I think Boss might have gained a little bit on Gill. We'll see which McLaren driver pits though. Into the hairpin. Block again locking up. Not great for the tyres. It's not like you can flat spot them on this game, but still not great for the tyres at all. We'll see which McLaren driver decides to pit at the end of this lap. I assume one of them will come into the pits. There goes Dario, so he gets priority considering he is the first car on track. Iamotti also pits, so we could see Block potentially drop down to 5th position if he gets jumped by Iamotti. He could also get jumped by IGK Boss, who is on them hard tyres, so just check up with him. There's Lars going very far off the track, and he's in the wall. Lars crashing into the wall. That's caused a safety car. What happened there? He's gone off at the penultimate corner, or just before the penultimate corner. Must have had a snap of oversteer, and that is really bad news. It's bad news for Block if he gets picked up by the safety car, and that he hasn't. So that's good, because he and everyone else will stick to that delta, as is good news for Nico. Not as good news though for the likes of Aero and Yost, who were planning to go longer on this tyre. We'll have to see who peels into the pits at the end of this lap. Block and Nico almost certainly will. So Max has left the session now. So Max has gone off as well as IGK Raikkonen pits again. So there's Block in the pits. Nico does follow him, as does Yost and Aero. Dario will inherit the lead of this race. There goes Block. Actually saying that, looks like Block up into the lead. So they've swapped around. That is something I didn't expect. That is safety car really playing into the hands of IGK Block, who hasn't had the pace over his teammate, but thanks to the safety car, is back up into the lead of the race. So this safety car really benefiting because of the less time loss, of course. Still under Delta, it's still less of a time loss. So Block in the lead. Dario will want to challenge him though when this safety car comes in. Nico here as well in third. Yeah, Nico's been a big gainer from this, went from 6th to 3rd. Someone who's lost out massively though, IGK Gill, down in 10th position. What a shocking safety car period for him. It's a right shame for his race, and this safety car almost neutralises the strategies other than IGK Raikkonen, Driving Dutchman and Aero, who are on the medium and soft compound respectively. I don't think we'll get a safety car in this lap because we're still waiting for Raikkonen to catch up. So we'll probably go one more lap under safety car. Everyone on the live stream at the moment, hope you're having a good night. Give us your reactions from the race so far, how you think it's going, how you think it's going to go. Put in your predictions after the safety car has really shook things up. As we are expecting the safety car to come in at the end of this lap. Quite a long lap here at Hanoi. That might be the McLaren drivers slopping around there. That's Max who stopped on track, so that's probably a reason for the extension of this safety car. As I said, expected to be in this lap. Wonder if Raikkonen can go to the end on them tyres. That'd be a long stint. I'd be extremely surprised. But we're not expecting anyone to pit other than Aero, Driving Dutchman, and let's be honest, probably Raikkonen, because I don't think he'll be able to stretch them that long. Tyre temperature's crucial here, and really hard to generate in the hard tyre. Even harder when you're going at 20% of your capacity, stuck behind a safety car. There is the message from race control: safety car in this lap. Beautiful. So IGK Block will now be in charge of controlling the field away, controlling the pace. He cannot put his foot down, or well, he can, but he can't overtake the safety car until it is in the pit lane. If he does, he will get a penalty, or he will actually get slowed down by the game. So he's going to back everyone up. There's Raikkonen on the back. Here's the rear end of Domi. Not Domi, of Block, sorry. Looking back at Dario, warming his tyres, weaving. Dario absolutely raring to go. And there goes Block. He's got the jump on his teammate and left IGK Dario absolutely for dead through the final corner there. He could even be at threat from Nico just behind him. He's not quite close enough, but who is close enough is Aero, who's going to go down the inside of IGK Boss, who lost out from that safety car. A few drivers who've lost a lot from that safety car, IGK Boss being one of them. Looks like Aero trying to make up another move on another IGK driver. Two IGK drivers in two corners, I hear, and there he goes, Aero up into fourth position. Two-step softer compound, getting past IGK Boss and Iamotti. Great chain of corners there. He could even challenge for the lead of the race. Let's not forget, he does have to pit again, but we could see Aero lead this race before he pits on them fresher tyres. As I mentioned at the start of this race, fresh tyres mean a lot here in Vietnam, and it looks like Shizu Aero making that point valid as he chases down Nico. He's looking for a podium position. Please don't forget, he does have to pit again, but he'll have so much more grip right now on them soft compound tyres. Looks like a little bit further back, it looks like Boss has lost another position. He has, to the driving Dutchman. He's going to have to follow him through this section. Dirty Out affecting him aplenty. And there is IGK Aero. We can see from the rear wing of the Aston Martin Red Bull racing car. Aero all over the back of him. Can he go for a move now? Overtake activated. He's going to try one down the inside. Doesn't quite get left the room. Not late enough on the brakes to be allowed the room. And Nico continues on in the lead. Nico will be aware that this driver does have to pit again, so it might be worth Nico not losing too much time battling. He hasn't lost any time with him so far. Remember, DRS not enabled yet. DRS will be enabled next lap, 2 laps after the safety car has come in. 2 laps of green flag racing. But here comes Aero, really trying to set up his exit here through the roundabout section. And here we go. Look how close Aero is. He won't even need DRS to get past it. He's going to breeze past the Red Bull driver. Nico probably isn't going to put up too much of a fight, because he will be aware that he is in an effective P3 once the stops roll out. But Aero will be really fast at the end of this race, as I assume he will go on to another set of soft tyres after starting on the medium tyre. It's all about stretching it now and seeing if he can catch up to the two McLarens ahead. He'll be the only driver to lead a lap if he does get into the lead. There isn't a McLaren driver so far this season. The McLaren's absolutely dominant, and they do have a wonderful bag of pace and talent. But on fresh tyres, well, they're all on fresh tyres, but on soft tyres, Aero looking extremely strong. Meanwhile, Lucas fallen to the back of the pack. Not sure why that is, because nevertheless behind Raikkonen on the medium tyres. He's going to hope that DRS can just pull him along for now. Boss still quite close to Dutchman, can't get that close though because of the tyre delta. The big difference here in the softer tyres to the harder tyres in terms of how well they work. DRS is now enabled, as you can see by the rear flap opening up. And here comes Aero. Aero inside DRS of Dario, and Dario inside DRS of Block, who had quite a poor exit out of that roundabout section. It does not look like he's close enough to make a move. He might start to close up though come the braking zone. We can see Aero as well lurking in the mirrors of Dario as we look in the rear view of IGK Block, who is currently in the lead of this race. Really late on the brakes from IGK Dory, who makes a mistake and lets Aero go, or doesn't let him go, has to concede the position. He's very lucky that he didn't plough into the back of his McLaren teammate there, pushing a little bit too hard on them fresh soft tyres, and it looks like Luke has gone off. Luke's day goes from bad to worse as he's in the wall, and he will need a safety car to make this race happen and make anything from this race. That's a shame for the Renault driver. Scored points last time out, it's not going to happen today unless we get another safety car. Back to the front, Aero really making good progress as he sets the fast lap of the race of 37.0. If you are new to esports and F1, remember that fastest lap for the driver who finishes inside the top 10 is worth 1 bonus point. So every little counts here, as Luke has retired from the session in the pit lane. So only 11 drivers left of 14 who started this second round of the IGK Esports League. Round the outside looks Aero, can't quite make it work, but Block is locked up and gone straight on. This is exactly what he didn't need, because this is backing Aero up into Dario, who's really close to Aero now. And once Aero makes his move, which you suspect he will do, down this main straight with the DRS activated, Dario might come along and steal the position as well. He seems a little bit too far back, probably not using ERS at the moment. Block defends the inside line. It's not going to be enough though, because Dario is going to sail, or I should say Aero, is going to sail around the outside up into the lead of this race. You see Dario locking up the brakes now, so it looks like he's the unconfident one into the hairpin now, which is roles reversed from the first stint where it was Block who was looking a little bit leery into that hairpin corner. But Aero leads the race. If you're just joining us, Aero in the lead. He does have to make another stop, so this is not an effective lead for Aero. However, he will start to pull away, and he's got to bridge as much of a gap as possible. And the more work he does now, the less work he has to do in the final laps of this race. However, he will have a very big tyre delta to the guys around him. You can see it already opening up a second into turn number 1. But this is the battle for the effective lead of the race. With Aero's tyres 5 laps old, you get the feeling it's not going to be long before they start to drop off. And we see the McLarens back in 1-2 tandem again in this Hanoi Grand Prix. You can see crucially Block outside of the DRS range of Aero, so he's not going to get pulled along that main straight, which is not great news for him, as he is trying to hold back his teammate in this McLaren civil war that has been so far. It's only the second round, but it's still been an absolutely enthralling battle. I'm sure there'll be even more battles to come. Can Dario get close enough into the hairpin? He can't. Later on the brakes again though. Looks like he may have sorted a few of his issues out there much more clean, because it looks like Gill is making a move on the Dutchman. They're going to be side by side on the exit of the corner. They touch a little bit. Back on the power. Who's got more traction? It's Dutchman, as Gill gets a little bit sideways. I'm not sure if he's got any damage there. I think he might just about get away with it. They're going to touch, and Dutchman for the second time goes off in that part of the track, and for the second time has to stamp on the brakes to avoid making any contact with anyone. Gill up into 8th, and saying that, Dutchman has ran into the back of IGK Gill there, so I'm not sure what happened there, if he just had way more cornering speed. That's really bad news for his race. He's got to come in for an earlier than scheduled stop. Does Gill have damage from that, which caused him to go slow? He does have damage. He does, as Gavin now is out of the session. So another driver retires. We only got 10 drivers left in this Grand Prix. Back to the front, just half a second separates the two drivers who will be fighting out for the lead once Aero pits. DRS for Dario, carrying him along. He's looked so much stronger than his teammate today around the streets of Vietnam, the new purpose-built race street circuit. F1 never has raced here. However, we are doing it virtually in the F1 2020 game. DRS activated for Dario. Is he close enough to his teammate? I don't think he is. Just a little observation. That rear left of Block looking a little bit worn, so is the rear right. Small blisters starting to become visible. That's not great. That's not great news for him. Presuming that his teammate is following the same pattern, it is great news for Aero up in front. Because if he can keep extending that gap, come out on fresh tyres and absolutely blitz the field, we might see something similar to what we see sometimes with the ultimate strategy in Formula 2, where the quicker tyres seconds a lap quicker. We'll have to see when we come round to that. I don't think it'll be too long before Aero comes into the pits. He'll probably try and strap on a fresh set of medium tyres. We'll try and extend a couple of laps to soft. Let's not forget, lighter fuel load means the tyres burn down, the tyres wear off less. So I say if he can stretch it another 1 or 2 laps, maybe pit lap 19, he should be okay to go onto the soft tyre. IGK Gill in the pits now. Another front wing change. He's had a bit of a miserable race today, has Gill. And he's going to hope for some points, as Dutchman will get ahead of him, so they may end up battling. As Raikkonen has got up into 8th with that front wing damage, he's going to push on. Then we got a really tight battle between Boss, Joost, Otti and Nico, all for 4th place. I'm talking about a tight battle. IGK, Dario and Block still going at it. No actual wheel-to-wheel combat. It looks like Dario is relatively content with just sitting behind for the moment and let the DRS of his teammate pull him along. Meanwhile, general observation, Block starting to close up to Aero. Potential signs that his tyres are starting to go off. We'll have to see what the Williams driver does, if he reacts or not. Still pulling that time though through the Estes section, so he's still got a little bit of life in his tyres that he can extract. Right now if he pit, he'd come out ahead of IGK Raikkonen, and with a big job to do, so he does continue. No pitting as of right now. Dario is still pressurising Block, as the gap at the front is 2.4 seconds as we cross the line. It's been a really enthralling battle so far. Who's going to come out on top? We don't know. We've got 9 laps to go in this race. If you are enjoying it, please do give us a big thumbs up on the video. Subscribe if you're not already to see more action like this in the VRL F1 League. As this Sunday at 2:30 PM UK time we do travel to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgium Grand Prix, the 51st race in VRL, as we come off the back of the celebration of 50 VRL races. Dario still unable to close that gap sufficiently to his teammate. And in other news, the gap at the front starting to go up slower. Welcome Charlie O'Brien from over in America. Pick up from our friends across the pond in the States. So there goes Aero, pits this lap. We had about a 2.6 second gap when he come into the pits. Hot lap mode official staging, don't know if Aero can make up all that time in the last stint. Pit stop is quite long. Very valid point from hot lap mode, graphics designer from VRL. Nevertheless though, the tyre delta is quite big. Fresher, softer tyres could be a huge difference. It all depends on how much everyone battles, but I'm sure Aero will be targeting that podium position. It'll be tricky. He'll probably have to make up the best part of a second lap, possibly more, on the cars around him, or rely on penalties. That could be one thing. If penalties come into play, anything could happen. Back at the front now. As Gill sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix in the 35s, I saw. Is Dario close enough? He's closer than he's been previously. He does have DRS. I don't think he's quite got the overspeed on him though. In order to make a move, Dario's really got to make a push here. he hasn't been able to get past his teammate. Talking about getting past, there goes Imotti down the inside of the Red Bull. Nico, a valiant defence of that podium position, comes to a close as Imotti gets up into the podium places, makes it an IGK 1-2-3. For the second week in the row, is challenging for a podium here. Aero will be hoping that this battle goes on and goes on. It looks like it's that IGK Raikkonen who's gone off. It's not, it's IGK Boss who made a mistake there. Front wing looks okay, maybe just a mistake, a spin. That's going to back him up into Aero, and that should be one easy position for Aero to make. Welcome to Sam as well, VRL F1 co-commentator to myself on the live stream. If you want to hear me and Sam in action over on this channel in Tier 1 of VRL, tune in on Sunday at 2:30 PM UK time to see 20 drivers battle out around the streets of Belgium. Back to the front on this battle though, Dario much closer than he has been in the previous laps. DRS open here for Dario. Is it going to be enough for the second of the McLaren drivers? It's not, as he slams on the brakes into the hairpin. He has to be content with second place for the time being. Nico not able to make a move, but someone who is able to make a move, Shizu Aero up into 6th there. You've got about 6 seconds to the cars ahead. It's going to be really great to see how Aero can come through the field. Already taken half a second out of the car ahead has Aero. He's absolutely flying up to the back of Joost, looking really comfortable on them new soft tyres. Gap down to 5.2 seconds, best part of 2 seconds gain that lap. Little bit further forward though, back to this battle. It'd be interesting to see Dario's telemetry, just see how much he's really using. See it in the bottom hand of the screen right now. He could, there you go. Got more than enough ERS compared to his teammate, who has a lot less. Here we go then. This is the battle for the lead. Looks like this time Dario is close enough, and Dario is going to make a move round the outside. Turns into the inside line, doesn't even need the inside line because he's breezed past his teammate. Come the braking zone, nothing Block can do about that other than sit in his slipstream and hope and pray that this time next lap he can get back in front of his IGK teammate. Meanwhile, Nico struggling a little bit for traction there, as we saw, as he battles on for 3rd position. Joost there as well from what was, I believe, around the back of the grid. I believe he started 12th, up in 5th now. If anything happens between Otti and Nico, he will pick up the pieces. As the gap between Aero and Joost down to below 3 seconds now, as Gil sets another, or gets another time penalty. Aero really lapping at a really good consistent pace. That's exactly what he needs. It's looking good for P3 at the moment for Aero. However, everything does have to go his way and will have to fight his way through traffic. Let's not forget that. It looks like Nico is starting to struggle ever so slightly now. To answer your question, Sam, Luke DNF'd not long after the safety car restart. I believe he got into contact with someone. I'm sure you'll hear from him, Sam, on the chats, if you'd like to drop him a message, because I don't know myself. Looks like Nico is possibly out of DRS. Talking about someone who is DRS though, there's Block. As I said, he's got to pray he can get back ahead, and that's exactly what he has done. McLaren's switching and then switching back the next lap. So no team orders there. It looks like Nico going down the inside of Joost, who has made that move up. Nico starting to struggle now on them hard tyres, as I'm sure Aero's licking his lips right now, going, thank you very much, I'll have some of that Red Bull. A little Austrian sandwich with a side of a Japanese engine. I'm not sure what that analogy really is, but we'll have to go with it. Aero's car looking extremely well balanced through the middle sector compared to Nico's, who's really struggling on them hard tyres. Lock up there into the penultimate corner, and we could even see a move between these two, or a move for Aero before turn 1. That's exactly what happens. Aero up into 5th position, and it's looking good for the podium as of right now, but let's not forget anything can happen, and with just 5 laps to go, it's all to play for here, including back at the front. As we are keeping a silent eye on that battle. If anything does change, we will switch straight over to that, but at the moment Aero is the driver to keep an eye on, because he is the driver making the charge through the field. As I said at the start of the race, soft, fresher tyres really account here at Hanoi, and it looks like Aero's really making it count, because it looks like he's set up to make another move on Joost, who's running out of VOS power down this main straight. That's not what you need at all, and Aero's going to go thank you very much and sail around the outside of that racing point. The two Shizou teammates swap positions, and Aero up into 4th position, driving a stunning race so far. He's just got to round off. I'm sure he'll be extremely satisfied with the podium. Can he go and get the 2 McLarens? We'll have to see what the tyre drop off is like. It would be incredible if he could, but let's stay grounded. He's got to get past Imotti. That's exactly what he does. Down the inside already. He's up into 3rd place. That shows the delta. You rarely see moves into the penultimate corner. But wow, Aero up into 3rd position. He's not messing around at all. He's got 6 seconds to catch to Dario ahead. Can he do it? I'm not sure. It will take a bit of battling between these two. But how they're going at the moment, it looks like that may come to fruition. Is Dario close enough for a move right now? Drivers tend to opt out of a move into this tricky little chicane, because that just gives the DRS almost a guaranteed pass to the car ahead. You can see Block, they're holding up, waiting for each other. That's not good news in terms of Aero, who's going to take so much time out of them through that section. I don't think these guys know that, I'm sure that Dario is not going full throttle down this straight, because he's trying to let his teammate through so he can get the DRS, but there goes Block with the DRS. They're going to be side by side into this braking zone. Block ahead, locking up though. Can Dario get the switchback? That's exactly what he can do. Sideways there, controlling the car just about on traction. They're going to be side by side into this right hand of the inside line. Is good here, but it's not good when you go that deep. Dario with a switchback move into the lead of the race. Incredible battling between these two drivers on lap 25 of the Hanoi Grand Prix. Dario, the McLaren driver, swap yet again. Dario up into the lead of this race. This time, can he keep it? We'll have to see. Further back, Aero is taking the best part of 1.4 seconds out of these drivers this lap. If he does that each lap, he'll be on them probably by the last lap, so this could come down to the final lap here. .6 seconds is the gap. Meanwhile, Nico making a move on the Haas driver of Otti. He goes off the track. He gives that position back, so a little bit too ambitious there from the Red Bull. So we go back to some interesting comments on the live stream. We'll ignore them and we'll turn back to the lead of the race. Is Block close enough? He's actually run out of VOS power. That's not beneficial. He's not going to be quite side by side, but he's going to go for an audacious move down the inside. Yet again, the two McLarens come to fruition here at the hairpin. They make a bit of contact sideways there for Dario. I don't think that's anything the stewards will need to look into, But what this is doing is it's slowing them down so much, and it's just letting Aero close that gap. Saying that, Aero not having the best of middle sectors, nevertheless that gap coming down. And Aero will want these two to continue to battle for the rest of the race as we go on. As we are about to start the penultimate lap, that gap down to below 4 seconds now. So it looks like the final sector is really where Aero can gain on these two drivers. And there's a few other battles on track at the moment. For example, Nico is looking quite close behind Iamotti. We'll follow that as they are swapping into turn number 1. Iamotti has been passed, however will have 2 helpings of DRS this lap to get back past the Red Bull. Back to the front though, Dario is right close behind Block. I think these guys have now noticed that Aero is coming quite fast and now get a move on. They're not waiting around for each other this lap. IGK Boss with the fastest lap, a 34.9, strong lap time there. There goes Block running out of VRS charge again. We saw Dario conserving his battery earlier. Dario as well running out, so both these drivers really pushing to the max. Round the outside goes Dario. Block ever so slightly later on the brakes, can't quite leave a front wing there. Dario swoops around the outside and takes that position back up into the lead of the race. These two drivers swapping over and over again throughout this race, but Dario back up into the lead, and with just 1 lap to go, can he keep this lead? That's the crucial question. He hasn't been able to do that. It's always been Block getting back past in this final stint, but he's only got 1 more lap to navigate. Meanwhile, further back, Aero, I don't think it's going to be enough. He probably needs a couple more laps, and if I'm honest, if the laps keep going, his tyres will start to degrade, so I don't think Aero's in the running for the win. However, nevertheless, an extremely strong driver, and it's not over yet. Can we see a big battle? Will Block get ambitious on this final lap? A quick look into penalties. 2 warnings for Dario, nothing more than that. No warnings at all. 1 warning actually there for Block. So this is a straight out fight between these 2 drivers for the lead of this race. Whoever crosses this line first will win the Hanoi Grand Prix for the second round of the IGK ESports League. You can tell Dario really doesn't want to end up first in this DRS zone, but it looks like he's going to have to. He's already running out of ERS charge, so all of these drivers pushing to the absolute limit. I'm not sure about Block's ERS levels. He's running low as well. Dario defends the inside line. Block, he's going to have to go round the outside. Who's going to brake latest? They're going to be side by side into the hairpin. Block with the outside line goes off the track. Dario goes sideways on throttle. Them tyres absolutely screaming. Block tucks back in behind. I think he's going to go down the inside here of this right-hander. A late, ambitious move. They're going to be side by side through this section. I believe Iamotti has gone off at the hairpin. He's made contact with Nico, but we're going to focus on this battle. A late lunge there from Block. However, I don't think it was enough to quite win this race. Block absolutely desperate after missing out due to a puncture last time out. He's going to look down the inside. They so nearly make contact. It's so close between the two. Very, very audacious there from Block. Almost very dangerous driving, and back to the front it's going to be Dario who takes the win ahead of Block and ahead of Aero, who did conduct an incredible drive from the back of the grid. Yost coming forward as well with a strong drive from his side. Nico finishes 5th, but I believe the stewards will look into that incident with Iamotti. An unfortunate race today for him, who could have the penalty applied. Gill only 7th after 2 front wing changes. Not an ideal day for him. IGK Boss could have been so much more for him, and Driving Dutchman finishes 9th. What a last lap that was. Block getting extremely desperate. Aero driver of the day, and deservedly so, with a great drive, making use of the 2-stop strategy, making it work. But for the second week in a row, it's the McLaren driver on the top step of the podium. However, this time it's a 1-2, both drivers making it to the finish. and I'm sure IGK Dario will be extremely satisfied with that race. What a race it was, so much battling, constant swapping, and if that's not an incentive to tune in to VRL this Sunday at 2:30 PM UK time, nothing will be. And do not forget to come back next week for round 3 of the IGK Esports League. Here are the provisional results of the Vietnam Grand Prix. Dario takes the win ahead of his Italian teammate Block. The top 2 finished as they started here in Hanoi, despite a lot of swapping around. SHZ Aero up in 3rd position, just ahead of his Shizou teammate Yost, who was in 4th. Both drivers conducting really strong drives to go forward into 3rd and 4th respectively. Nico was 5th from 5th on the grid. Imotti 6th from 4th. Gil only 7th after a disappointing race. Driving Dutchman picked up points. IGK Boss had a really disappointing race. I believe he had contact just before the safety car, and he actually did spin, if you remember, actually on them hard tyres. So he is the last of the drivers who finished. So that's been it for the IGK Esports League round 2 of season 1 in Vietnam. It's been great having you all along with us. I hope you've enjoyed the race today, and we will catch you. Make sure you tune in on Sunday 2:30 PM UK time for the VRL Tier 1 race at Belgium. Make sure you come back this time next week on the Vision Racing League YouTube channel for round 2 of season 1 of the IGK Esports League. It's been great having you. I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.